Here today with Burt Zweigenhaft of FFF. Burt, it's really good to see you.
FFF Enterprises.
Enterprises. There we go. We got to get.
It's a Latin name for fortune favors the brave.
So we were just talking. Why does our car work better than the modern healthcare system?
Right. That's a great example, and I always try to break things down to the street level. I don't have to talk in lingo, but our car is smarter than healthcare, and I mean by that we have smart technology embedded in the car today, computerized technology, AI, digital technologies, voice, and cellular. Mm-hmm. Healthcare does none of the above. I mean, at best. So if you think about your car today, if you go off pathway, that's our medical term, and you're off label, it doesn't tell you to pull back like your car will.
Right.
It will pull you back in lane.
Right.
If somebody gets a dosing error or makes a mistake, the light on my car tells me I have 28 pounds of pressure, not 32. Healthcare doesn't have any of those safeguards or those rails. Another example would be, the best example is your encounter with healthcare is probably from your phone ringing to remind you have an appointment at your dentist or your doctor or a blood test because they want you to come in to get that test. To retrieve the results of that test takes several days. Mm-hmm. They have digital technology that's analyzing that blood quickly. They have that report that night. Maybe you don't even get a call from somebody to tell you what your blood values are. You probably have to call them and inquire. Mm-hmm. Did you get my blood test back? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I've just gone through that myself. So even when I am a smart consumer, I'm still disadvantaged by the system. Uh-huh. So, I mean, can we get better? Sure.
Yeah.
Look how fast cell phones, everything that we carry with us, have changed everything. So that's why this is an important conference over here at HITLAB, mm-hmm. because there's a lot of innovation in technology and incubators, and these are small little companies that have great ideas. Don't have enough capital, looking for capital markets.
Right.
But they are going to be the pollen that is going to grow our industry.
Well, a lot of these people are on the inside looking out, and we're trained medical professionals, and med school doesn't teach business for the most part. So they may come up with this great notion, usually out of a painful situation that they deal with all the time. They come up with a solution, but they don't really have the skills to bring it to market.
But maybe doctors shouldn't be businessmen.
Right.
And if you think about it today, doctors are owned by corporations. They work for big hospitals, not-for-profits. They're huge institutions. They're controlled by the C-suite and the business people and the MBAs. Insurance companies, again, they might say they're in the healthcare business, but they're really fiduciaries. They're managing money.
Right.
Doctors should be doctors, and we should be giving doctors the technology they need to be better at their craft. Mm-hmm. And AI tooling and others, decision support is hugely important because there's just volumes of information to be able to ingest and absorb. So if you think about a typical doctor today, has to analyze more information than ever.
Right.
Post that exam has to document more information than ever into the medical records, or I call them the legal guardrails of the system, mm-hmm. because everyone is being tracked as to appropriate care, on care, off care, inappropriate care. And there's a thing called lawyers out there that are profiting very well from going after people who make errors in admissions. Mm-hmm. So I think that too much of the physician's time is spent on the back end today.
Yeah.
And not the front end, which is diagnosing, seeing, listening to a patient. Mm-hmm. So technology can change that, because it can help me as a physician analyze terabytes of information, bigger subject scales than I have practiced in. maybe even bring me outside of my little regional market and vastly expand my knowledge by including data from other countries around the world,
Right.
the latest science and innovation. So I think technology, will help cure the problem you just stated.
So 2-3 years ago, we were talking about the potential of AI to affect change in modern health IT. At the conference now, I'm hearing concrete examples of it being used, albeit with some concerns. The next 2-3 years look to be pretty interesting in this revolution that we're going through.
Yeah, well, it's here. It's been around for a while.
Right?
It's very sexy today, so it's getting called out.
Yep.
We've been using it for a while. It's been in analytics, it's been in drug discovery, it's been in medical management, it's been in post-review. So it's nothing new, but we're getting better at it. And we're making it easier and more accessible.
So when you look forward into the immediate future, where do you think the biggest changes will come, and what
Sure.
is there a part of modern health information technology?
One of the problems, I just focus on pharmaceuticals,
Okay.
biotech. 50% of what is paid for goes to a middleman, to a wholesaler, to a PBM, to an arbitrager, to a group purchasing organization. That's a lot of distortion in our business. The appetite and the control of these middlemen has grown to almost monopolistic control. Therefore, they can dictate pricing, and they can force manufacturers to pay higher and higher rebates to satisfy that appetite. It's not good for healthcare.
Right.
I think we've lost our way. Middlemen have a role, a very good role. We have a great distribution system, but the economics of the supply channels have been dysfunctional and anti-competitive and inflationary in healthcare costs. It's not bearable. You can't have a $800 billion market with a $400 million middleman. I don't know any other industry that has that. Maybe the diamond business has that, but I'm not sure. I'm not a diamond expert. But it's highly unusual,
Right.
isn't it? And it's economic distortion. So the gross net is a big issue. I think we're going to see it with the new administration, a lot more intervention and executive orders and mandates. HHS has a sweeping responsibilities, and they can manipulate markets better than they're operating today. I'm not a big guy for government managing my money and things, but we are taxpayers, and the biggest spend by our government is healthcare.
Right.
It's expected to be 50% of the U.S. market, the gross national product.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary.
Right. Yeah. Are we
look
getting,
at us.
Are we getting bang for our buck?
Is America any better? And are these GLP-1s really the answer? Or is treating the disease or the root cause of the disease a better option for us? I think Robert F. Kennedy, though he's controversial, has some good ideas. The best way to look at healthcare in America, I'm a New York Yankee fan, but I've gone to Fenway, and Fenway was built 100 years ago. The average American cannot fit in a seat at Fenway today.
Yeah.
Cannot. Look at airplanes. Again.
I just was on one, and yes, it was kind of unpleasant.
Yeah. So when we look at, we're in the inflection point is hit, where people are frustrated by the care they're getting. The providers are frustrated and burnt down on the healthcare side. The economics aren't working. It's not sustainable. And I think that we're finally at a point where we're going to see a wealth of activity and change for the better. Even on the, if you look at cancer research, I'm big in the cancer area. Cancer research is an area that's hugely important. There's a lot of rebuff because NIH grants have been clawed back. But previously, NIH grants were given out at 50% indirect costs to hospitals. That's a lot of indirect costs. When you're trying to get $100,000 to a lab to develop a drug, they're going to take 50 out for administrative fees.
Right.
I don't think Columbia Presbyterian or MD Anderson and others are going out of business. So I think clawing back on the NIH was a good thing. I know people will play that out politically to say it's not a good thing. I think we're going to see cancer research survive and all research survive. But no one's happy when their allowance is cut. But we're going to cut the allowance, according to the government mandate now, at 15%, not 50%. So that means more money can get to a lab. Maybe that means more research will be developed here in our country. And the other is, I think the FDA needs to relax our standards and the administrative burden on companies to develop drugs here. We've seen drug development move overseas. One of our national treasures is drug development. Good friend of ours, Dr. Scott Gottlieb, probably feels the same about this one. He frequently talks about it. So, listen, where do we start? We'd start in many, many places.
Right.
Where do we end? I think we'll get it better.
Good.
We are America. The last 4 letters are, I can. I can do better. We will. Thank you.
Thanks, Burt, for coming by.
There you go.
Yeah, appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us.
Yeah, well, I have opinions.
Yes, you do.
The nice thing is when you get to my age in the industry and my stature, I can pretty much say anything I want, because if someone doesn't want me tomorrow, I have a nice house up in Lake Placid I'm ready to go to.
It does help, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
You guys have a great meeting.